Boom Santa, have all the children from Tennessee been good this year? Well, mostly, answered the little old elf as he bustled across the busy workshop to Santa's desk. Santa peered down at the elf from behind the tall, teetering piles of letters that the children of Tennessee had sent him. Mostly? Asked Santa, looking over the top of his glasses. Yes, but they've all been especially good in the last few days, said the elf. Jolly good, declared Santa. Then we better get the presents loaded up. Even though the sack of presents was really, really big and the elves were really, really small, they seemed to have no trouble loading it onto Santa's sleigh. Though how they managed to fit such a big sack into one little sleigh, even they didn't know. But somehow they did it. Splendid, boomed Santa. We're ready to go. Not quite, Santa, said the little old elf. One of our reindeer is missing. Missing? Which reindeer is missing? Asked Santa. The youngest one, Santa, said the elf. It's his first night. It's his first flight tonight. I called him and called him, but just then a young reindeer strolled up, munching on a large carrot. Where have you been? Asked Santa. But the youngest reindeer was crunching so loudly that it was no wonder he hadn't heard the little old elf calling. Oh, well, never mind, said Santa, giving the reindeer a little wink. He took out his Santa and tapped in the coordinates for Tennessee. This will guide us to Tennessee in no time. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Reindeer's eating his carrot rather loudly, isn't he? With a flick of the reins and a jerk of the harness, off they went, racing through the sky. Ho, 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 laughed Santa. We'll have some of these presents delivered to the volunteer state. Santa's sleigh flew through the starry night, heading across the Atlantic Ocean on the way. Heading across the Atlantic Ocean on the way, he flew in the crisp wintry air, crossing over Canada in the wink of an eye. The sleigh was flying above the Great Lakes and on over Kentucky. The youngest reindeer was very excited. He had never been away from the North Pole before. There they go, through the starry sky. They were just crossing Old Hickory Lake when suddenly they ran into a blizzard. Snowflakes swirled around the sleigh. They couldn't see a thing. The youngest reindeer was getting a bit worried, but Santa didn't seem concerned. In 2 miles, said Santa, the Santa now, in a bossy lady's voice. Keep left at the next star. But ma'am, Santa blustered, I can't see any stars in all this snow. Soon they were hopelessly lost. Ooh. Then through the howling blizzard, the youngest reindeer heard a faint ring-a-ding-ding sound. Ding-dong, 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 ding-dong. He looked over at the old reindeer with the red nose, but he had his head down. There was that sound again, like church bells ringing. Ding-dong, ding-dong, ding-dong. But Santa wasn't listening. He seemed to be arguing with a little box with buttons on it. With a flick of the harness and a jerk of the reins, the youngest reindeer gave a sharp tug and headed off toward the sound of the bells, pulling Santa and his sleigh behind them. "Whoa!" cried Santa, pulling his hat straight. "What's going on?" Then, to his surprise, he heard the ringing sound. Ding dong, ding dong. "Well done, young reindeer," he shouted cheerfully. "It must be Belmont University bell tower in Nashville. Don't worry, children. Santa is coming." Then suddenly, crunch! The sleigh hit something as it plummeted through the snow. "You have arrived," said the Santa nav unhelpfully. He's got one of those navigation systems, and it doesn't seem to be working very well. Finally, when the snow had died down and the clouds parted, Santa discovered exactly where they were, stuck right at the very top of the dome of the Tennessee State Capitol. There they are, right there, the sleigh and the reindeer and Santa, and all the gifts. The reindeer pulled with all their might, and at last, with a screeching noise, the sleigh scraped clear of the dome, and Santa steered them safely across the trail tracks, past Vanderbilt University, over the Parthenon, and down into Centennial Park. Excuse me. Santa drove his sleigh expertly from rooftop to rooftop all over Tennessee, popping in and out of a chimney as fast as he could go. There were big chimneys in Memphis and small chimneys in Kingsport. He squeezed down thin chimneys in Chattanooga and plummeted down fat chimneys in Collierville. The youngest reindeer was amazed at how quickly they went. Santa never seemed to get tired of it at all, and it looked like the children in Tennessee were going to be very lucky this year. But the youngest reindeer was starting to feel a bit weary and quite hungry too. In house after house, Santa delivered inside his sack. He delved inside his sack for packages of every shape and size. He piled under the Christmas tree and carefully filled up the stockings with surprises. Oh, look what they left for him. In house after house, the good children of Tennessee had left a plate of, what is it? And cookies and a glass of, that's right. Santa took a little bite out of each cookie, a tiny sip of milk, wiped his beard, and popped the carrots into his sack. From Collierville to Knoxville, from Dollywood to Graceland, from Gatlinburg to Gallatin, and all the places in between, Santa and his sleigh visited every house in Tennessee. Santa delivered presents to Andrew, Allison, Anna, Archie, Ashley. The list went on and on. Caroline, Sarah Ann, Zach, Hayden, Zoe, Zibble. Zibble, I've never heard of that name. There it is. U-Z-Y-B-I-L? I've heard of Sybil, but not Zibble. That's interesting. Finally, Santa had delivered the last present on his long Tennessee list. Great moons and stars, sighed Santa. It's past midnight and my sack seems as heavy as ever. I hope I haven't forgotten anyone. Santa opened his sack to check, but it was full of juicy, crunchy carrots. Santa divided the carrots among all the reindeer. Well done, he said, patting the youngest reindeer gently on the nose. But the youngest reindeer didn't hear him. He was too busy munching. Then it was time to set off for home. Santa reset his Santa nap once more to the North Pole, and soon